The much-anticipated legislative bills aiming for One Nation, One Election or ONOEA, the Constitution 129th Amendment Bill 2024 and the Union Territories Laws Amendment Bill 2024 has been introduced in the lower house of India's Parliament, the Lok Sabha. The bills aim to amend the Constitution and enable government's plan for holding simultaneous polls for Lok Sabha and state assemblies in a phased manner. India's Law Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal tabled these bills. Discussion on this bill is underway.
I beg to move for leave to introduce the Constitution 129th Amendment Bill 2024, further to amend the Constitution of India. ये आइटम नंबर 18 में है और आइटम नंबर 19 में जैसे आपने कहा, Honorable Speaker Sir, with your permission, I wish to move for leave to introduce the Union Territories Laws Amendment Bill 2024, further to amend the Government of Union Territories Act 1963, the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Act 1991, and the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019. ये मैं आपकी अनुमति से आपसे लीव मांग रहा हूँ. Thank you, sir.
So this was Union Minister of State Law Arjun Ram Meghwal tabling the bill on One Nation, One Election. It has been introduced in Lok Sabha with the majority votes in voting, and the House has been adjourned till 3 p.m. Meanwhile, Manish Tiwari of the Congress, while initiating the discussion on the One Nation, One Election bills, urged the government to withdraw them, saying that introduction, consideration of such bills is beyond the legislative competence of the House.
The bills which have been moved by the Honorable Minister of Law and Justice absolutely assault the basic structure of the Constitution and are beyond the legislative competence of this House, and therefore they need to be opposed ab initio, and the introduction of those bills have to be stopped.
India's Home Minister Amit Shah said that PM Modi has shown interest in the bill to be moved in the Joint Parliamentary Committee, and based on the JPC report, the bill will be discussed again in the House after the JPC submits the report. He said that the Law Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal will move a motion to move it to the JPC.
जब ये संविधान सुधार का विधेयक संवैधानिक संशोधन जब कैबिनेट में चर्चा में आया, तब प्रधानमंत्री जी ने स्वयं मंशा व्यक्त करी थी कि इसको जेपीसी को देना चाहिए. इस पर विस्तृत चर्चा सभी स्तर पर होनी चाहिए. इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि इसमें सदन का ज्यादा समय जाया करे बगैर, अगर मंत्री जी कहते हैं कि इसको जेपीसी को सौंपने के लिए वो तैयार है, तो जेपीसी में सारी चर्चा होगी, और जब जेपीसी के रिपोर्ट के आधार पर कैबिनेट इसको पारित करेगी, तब भी फिर से चर्चा होनी है.
Meanwhile, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla assured the members that the JPC will enable members to widely discuss and debate the bills in their entirety, and when the bill comes in the House as well, members will be given more time to debate the bill.
जेपीसी के समय व्यापक चर्चा होगी और सब दल के सदस्य होंगे, उसमें डिटेल चर्चा होगी, और उसके बाद जब बिल आएगा उस समय आपको व्यापक चर्चा, आप जितने समय चाहोगे उतने घंटे आपको व्यापक चर्चा दी जाएगी, पूरा समय दिया जाएगा, सबके दल के सदस्यों को समय दिया जाएगा. ये मैं आपसे कह सकता हूं कि उस समय जब इस बिल पे लाएगा तो पूरी डिटेल चर्चा होगी सभी माननीय सदस्यों को. जितने दिन आप चर्चा जाएंगे उतने दिन से आपको चर्चा का समय दिया जाएगा.
DD India's Anil Thomas joins us from Parliament House in New Delhi. Anil, there is a resurgence of interest in the concept of One Nation, One Election, and now that the government is making a case in Parliament, tell us what all happened after Arjun Ram Meghwal introduced the bill. Why was the need for voting necessitated?
Well, good afternoon, Tanvi. Well, very much on expected lines. The bill, as soon as it was, when the bill was brought about in Parliament, the opposition was all gung-ho and protested heavily, right from Manish Tiwari from the Congress, from Gogoi, the Deputy Leader of the House, all protesting, raising their voice, and they managing to get equal number of voices from the opposition parties who oppose this particular introduction of the bill. The Home Minister then stood up and said that the Prime Minister, when this bill was when this matter was discussed in the meeting, had indicated that the Prime Minister is open to the idea of this bill going to the JPC, and he requested the Union Law Minister to move the bill to the JPC. So for all that to happen, the bill had to be introduced on the floor of the House. So when the bill needed to be introduced on the floor of the House, the JPC idea was accepted, and many political parties, which include the Shiv Sena, the Uddhav Thackeray faction, the NCP, Sharad Pawar faction, the DMK, all at least stood up and requested for a JPC, this particular bill to be moved to the JPC, where you have a certain number of MPs from every political party who would sit, deliberate, and see the merits and demerits of this particular bill. So once that was clear, the idea was the bill needed to be introduced on the floor of the House, and for the bill to be introduced on the floor of the House, since yes and no's were almost equal in number, first, the electronic voting, this is for the first time that the electronic voting took place, or the e-voting took place in the new Parliament building, and the Speaker made a mention about it. Once that was conducted, there was confusion with regard to few members who didn't understand the technicalities of going about with the procedures on, that particular e-voting that took place. And then the Speaker said that since there was a confusion, it's better that, voting through a different method of voting, that's voting through, paper be done. And the voting through paper happened. And that's where the numbers clearly favored for the introduction of the bill, and post which the bill was introduced. So there's been a long drama that's unfolded, in the last 2.5 hours, from the time this particular bill has been introduced. But all in all, this particular bill has now hit the floor of the House. In all likelihood, as the Union Law Minister indicated, it will go to the JPC. And then when the JPC approves it, it will come back to the House, and again you will see, large-scale deliberations and discussion takes place in the lower house. But all in all, for now, the government is happy that the bill has been introduced. The opposition is happy because they have got assurance from the government that this bill will go to the JPC.
Okay. Now that you mentioned about all this drama before the introduction of the bill, if you can tell us a little bit more about this bill, One Nation, One Election. Well, it is being said that it will prevent policy paralysis and, will also prevent the atmosphere of uncertainty caused by frequent elections.
Well, exactly. If you speak to many political parties, and, a perfect example of simultaneous elections in the Lok Sabha, along with the assembly elections, a perfect example can be the last state of Andhra Pradesh. And Andhra Pradesh time and again shown that it's possible that simultaneous elections can be done. And I spoke to the MP from, in Parliament, and he said that, Andhra Pradesh provides a perfect template for other states to follow. And the Union Law Minister, while making his speech, did indicate that there is no politics being played over it, and one needs to understand the logistical challenges that come with it, but also, the amount of money that is spent for conducting all these elections. A lot of cost saving could happen, and that was one of the merits of this particular bill that was when it was introduced, that the Law Minister spoke about. So all in all, there are templates to be followed, the basic structure, infringement on federalism, all these points were raised by the opposition. I think the Law Minister stood up and rebutted every point that was raised, or the doubts that were there in the minds of the opposition when it comes to the bill. And he said, let's not play politics on it. Let's try and see the merits of this case. And since the assurances were given that this particular bill will move to the JPC, and even if that, all this would, let's purely look at it in terms of numbers. There are close to 35 political parties that are backing the BJP, close to 15 political parties. If you look at the India bloc and the other parties who would, like-minded parties who would, stand by them when it comes to objecting to this bill. So it was 35 parties against 15 parties in the Lok Sabha. So they didn't stand the numbers to protest, but they wanted to make their voices heard. And I think the Union Law Minister, along with the Union Law Minister, was very open to the idea of listening to them. And the bill has been introduced. And now this bill, in all likelihood, will be going to the JPC. That's where the opposition also feels that they have got their foot in.
Okay. For now, it's been a heated debate in the Lok Sabha to introduce the bill. We don't know what will happen when it will be actually discussed in Parliament. We leave it here. Thank you very much, Anil Thomas, for reporting on the parliamentary proceedings.
We have long discussions. The Speaker has assured that every political party, today, the Speaker talked about every political party's representative getting an opportunity. He said when the bill is on the floor of the House, we're going to see every political party and their representative getting equal amount of time to speak, and there'll be no time limits or time durations
Yeah.
will come into place. So I
Yeah.
think everybody happy.
Yeah, that's a relief there. Thank you, Anil. Thank you, Anil, for all those updates.